Well, greetings everyone. It's Wednesday, yeah. It's Wednesday, and just want to say hi everybody. Hey, Dustis, Lars, Garth, Andy, Keith, Gary, Chris, everybody, Late Night Snack, everyone who I've written a letter to. I'm really, I haven't heard back from Keith from Eternal Darkness. I'm really looking forward to getting one of his letters because I haven't heard from him in a while. But I've sent you a letter. I've sent you a postcard. I just hope to hear from you. So I'm just gonna jump back into this. I'm gonna read. My good buddy, hey Mike Patterson's tale of drunken debauchery. Let's get back where we left off. Well, it seemed like a nice high point to wrap our day up with. We wrangled Kurt back to the car. By now the sun was setting and the party had spilled into the surrounding neighborhoods. The police were everywhere. We even saw some folks being put in the paddy wagon. Definitely time to head back to SA. We got to the car and very covertly drained a couple more beers. God, we used to drink a lot, given even half a reason. We got in the car, no extra tickets. Our little plan with the ticket worked. Pulled out of the parking space and hit the road. Traffic was thick and chaotic. No sooner were we going home, Kurt told us he had to pee. He wanted me to pull over so he could piss on the side of the road. No way that was happening. Cops everywhere. So I pulled into an apartment complex where he could go around the corner and pee without getting in trouble. Mike and I waited in the car. Time passed. After 5 minutes, we were, "What the fuck, Kurt?" We got out to go find him yet again. When we got around the corner, we found him lying on his back next to an ocean of his own barf. He was slurring something about those damn grilled onions. It surely couldn't have been the bottle of Jack, the 18-pack of beer, or all the clog dancing, could it? We let Kurt lay there for a couple of cigs, maybe 30 minutes. Kurt finally sat up, wet-eyed, with barf on his shirt. I asked if he was good to make it back to SA. He said he was. I told him there would be no more pulling over. Mike and I took the opportunity to pee and carried Kurt back to the car. Mike got in the back. I put Kurt in the front and put his seatbelt on for him. Kurt was out of commission. His blood alcohol count simply had him passed out. We got back on the road. Coming across an intersection, the guy in front of us slammed on his brakes and I rear-ended him. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Cops were everywhere. This guy jumped out of his car and I thought there was going to be a fight. Instead, the dude looked at his car, then my car, then me. He said, "I'm drunk." I said, "Me too." He said, "Let's just get out of here." I agreed. Cops everywhere. We both got back in our respective cars and drove away. No troubles from the 5-0. Also was a low-speed crash where only my car got dented and a headlight broken. That was that, and we were back on the road now, getting on the highway. We'd been driving for about 30 minutes when Kurt woke up, and in a perfectly clear voice, he said he needed to puke again. Pulling over to barf was not an option. "Kurt, you'll just have to puke out the window." "I am not pulling over." It seemed like we had seen a cop at least every 2 miles. Kurt said fine and proceeded to violently projectile barf out of the vehicle while we were going 65 miles an hour. Now, I don't know if you have ever tried to pour a drink out of the window while on the highway, but let me tell you, it doesn't really work. It's quite the mess, with most blowing right back in the car. Add to that, my Grand Am was a 2-door, the type where the seat has to fold forward to sit in the back. It had windows that extended past the front seats and into the back area a little bit. So there's Kurt, just puking and puking his guts out. I hear what sounds like a growl growing in the back seat, and Mike punched Kurt's headrest, screaming, "You fucker!" I looked in the rearview mirror and saw Mike beat red with anger and soaked with Kurt's barf. His hair, his face, his clothes, everything. I could see it dripping off his nose. I wanted to laugh at the absurdity, but prudence told me to stay quiet. Mike was so pissed off he probably would have killed me if I laughed. Instead, I took my shirt off while driving, not easy or safe, and I gave it to him to wipe the puke off his face. I told him, "Hang in there, we'd be home in like 40 minutes. Kurt passed back out, and by no small miracle, we got home. I dropped Mike off first, then took Kurt home. I decided to sleep on Kurt's couch. That was enough debauchery, enough close calls, enough of everything for one day. I parked at Kurt's and just left the windows down for ventilation. I'd address the mess in the morning. Bedtime, and boy did I sleep hard that night. The sun, booze, and adventure had me totally exhausted. The next morning, Kurt was up before me and sitting on the couch across from me. I woke up and Kurt apologized for puking. I said, fuck it, shit happens. Let's go see the damage. We went to the car. There was a dented front end, there was a broken headlight, there was a completely redecorated passenger side of my car. Puke covered the back length of my car, yuck. Now here's the punchline. Looking through the back window, you could see the dried, dense mist of puke. It covered inside of the window, the whole thing. Except for where Mike had been sitting. In perfect silhouette of shoulders and head, there was a spot clean of puke. It was like a Looney Tunes cartoon where a character runs through the wall, leaving a perfect outline. Or maybe more like Hiroshima. Kurt and I couldn't help it, and hungover or not, we had a huge laugh about it. Poor Mike. It took weeks to get my car clean, and even then, it never smelled right again. So yeah, older and wiser now, definitely no drinking and driving anymore. I've grown up, I guess, though I will always cherish all the memories of the wild-ass years. Maybe I should write a book about them. Fuck, maybe I just did. Well, Artie, my hand hurts now. I hope you were at least slightly entertained by this. The longest letter I've ever written in my life. Pass me another Lone Star, your pal, Mike. P.S. To this day, Mike, Kurt, and I say, those were the best peaches we ever had. So that's the conclusion of Mike Patterson's story that he wrote me. I wish Kurt and the other Mike could see this. I'm gonna pass this on to someone. Hopefully, someone. I'm gonna pick someone that doesn't watch the channel, and it is pretty good. I think I mentioned in the video that didn't record, Mike, that this is like a Joe Lansdale story. Maybe like minus the gore or monsters or mutilation, but it's really good. So thanks for sharing this with me. I always have this video so if I can rewatch it. And now let's see. As you know, today, Wednesday, is comic book day. So I went to the comic book store. And they didn't really have anything I wanted except this. Venom Madness. Just soak that in. This collects, let's go through this. Iron Man issue 302, Darkhawk 35 through 37. Venom the Madness 1 through 3. Venom the Enemy Within 1 through 3. Incredible Hulk vs. Venom number 1. Venom the Mace 1 through 3. Nightwatch 5 through 6. And Venom Knights of Vengeance 1 through 4, which I've never read any of these. So Venom wasn't always one of my favorite characters, but he's become one in the last couple of years. I think he's great, and I love Carnage too. So this will be I think this will be pretty good. I hope it'll be pretty good. And I'm gonna review the G.I. Joe 27, the second part of the Snake Eyes origin. So I have the original issue, and I looked, these aren't really worth that much. I thought they were. They're not. In fact, the issue after this, 28, and the issue before, 25, are worth more. And I was like, man, I want to read those. I went into the Night of the Bloody Tapes comic vault, and I realized I have the classic G.I. Joe collection. I have this one, volume 3, which collects issues 21 through 30, and I was like, I have them. I have these goddamn issues. So, issue 27 begins with Destro, Cobra Commander, Baroness, and Zartan stuck in the quicksand that Junkyard led them to. So that whole time, Junkyard was just, he tricked them, and Mutt was so upset with his dog that he thought he had betrayed him, but he didn't. So, Junkyard, Torpedo, and the landmine guy, I cannot remember his name, they're chasing Wild Weasel and Firefly. Destro, Cobra Commander, Zartan, and Baroness are chasing the Joes. Up ahead, Firefly has set a Malayan tiger gate. It's just like a long tree limb. You put a bunch of stakes on it, and whoever trips it, it'll smack him in the stomach or the chest and kill him. But oh yeah, and this is I like this part where Destro gets them out of the quicksand, and Cobra Commander says, "Very good, Destro, but I'd still like to see that dog get his." Because man, Cobra Commander, he's such a jerk. And then we go back to the Snake Eyes origin, where Duke and Stalker, like Snake Eyes has moved into the mountains, and they go to recruit him for G.I. Joe, which like Snake Eyes has nothing going on, so he's better off joining the Joes. Then Scarlet starts telling the story of how she met Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes just had the hots for. I mean, Scarlet had the hots for Snake Eyes and wanted to bang him, but she reminded him of his little sister, so she got mad and didn't, because he didn't want to bang her. And then we get why Snake Eyes doesn't talk. He took like a blast of ignited fuel into the face that just charred his whole face. So that's why he doesn't talk. Back to the Florida Everglades, where the Joes and the Cobras have a shootout. Then back to Spanish Harlem, where the Softmaster is telling us, how he thinks Storm Shadow killed the Hardmaster, his uncle. And then Storm Shadow shows up. Snake Eyes shoots at him with his Uzi, doesn't hit him. And then there's Larry Hama is, like I said, he's such a great writer. It's so movie-like. You can feel the movement where Snake Eyes is chasing Storm Shadow, and the little kid says Moon Knight when he sees Storm Shadow. And they get on top of a subway train, and then Storm Shadow tells Snake Eyes that he joined Cobra because someone from Cobra is the one that assassinated their uncle. And Storm Shadow joined Cobra to eventually, hopefully he would get high enough to where he would be trusted with the knowledge of who killed his uncle. So this whole time, I always thought Storm Shadow was a bad guy, but he's not. He's like a double agent for the Arashikaga family. And he's not really a bad guy. He's just been trying to find out who killed their uncle. And it ends where pretty much Snake Eyes lets Storm Shadow go, and Scarlet, she goes, "Snake Eyes, where is he? Where's Storm Shadow?" And she says, "Why do I bother asking? You never answer." So yeah, great story. If it was any medium, TV show, novel, movie, whatever, it's such a good story. So I have this. So I'm gonna review issue 21, which I also have an original issue of. It's really beat up, but this is the silent issue. Just another great idea from a great writer, where he writes a comic book with no words in it. And there's some other great stuff in here, I'll get to that later. I don't know if I'll do this or another movie before, but there's some G.I. Joe in my review future. And lastly, I'm listening to some Mortuary. They're going to play Friday. I'm going to see them, so expect a video of that, and I'll see you later.